Hi Parker parents. I want to take a moment to do this video so that I could go over some of the changes that are taking place as we move forward with our virtual learning plan starting on Monday, April 13th. I also want to take a moment to say that I understand the difficulty and the struggle in parenting right now. Many of you are trying to juggle working from home. Some of you may have lost jobs. Some of us have our loved ones who are sick or in positions in which they are still out there as essential workers. It is very difficult to try to do everything, and that's how many of us feel as parents. I myself am at Zoom meetings much of my day, as well as trying to run what we call in our house Pelkey Elementary, which is making sure that my two young ones are on track. And that has been extremely difficult. Mrs. Schmidt, our assistant principal, and Mrs. Geringer also have school-age children. And all three of us are also married to first responders. So we have a complex world in our own houses, and every single house has complexity. And we understand that. So we have been working on how can we make this system of virtual learning as smooth as possible. One thing I want to say is thank you so much for supporting our bond and the one-to-one initiative. That has helped us so much during this process. Our teachers have been using Google Classroom and have been using those Chromebooks in their classrooms throughout every day at Parker. And our students know how to use that technology as well. That is certainly going to help us as we seamlessly move into this virtual learning process. Your students and yourself will be getting emails on Monday from the team of teachers, those core teachers, and that will tell you about what's happening that week. Some teachers will be having office hours, and during those office hours, your student can pop in. It might be a Zoom, an email time, it might be a Google Hangout in which they can then ask questions or touch base with their teacher. We know how important that is for our students to touch base with their teacher as well as their classmates. So there may be some opportunities for them to collaborate virtually. You will get that schedule so that you can, I know the difficulty of trying to balance when you may be working from home, when your student needs to be on something. So we are trying to make that as seamless as possible. If you have any questions, please reach out to that team of teachers and they will be happy to help you. Each core class, math, science, English, and social studies, are going to be giving about a half hour of engagement each of those days, which is about 2.5 hours over the week. That could include those office hours. It could include a lesson, video lesson. It could include the time that students are maybe reading an article or doing the work. All of that combined should be about 2.5 hours per core class. The 9-week classes that students are in, those encores, stayed the same from quarter 3 as we are just extending quarter 3 and turning that really into a semester 2 grading. So they are staying in those classes as they know those teachers, and those teachers will be providing a half hour a week as they had most of their curriculum already done. They will provide a half hour a week of activities for your students. We are moving forward in our school year. So many have said school is over, but that in fact is not the case. School is just moving to virtual learning. And in that virtual learning process, we do have expectations that students engage. So I want to talk a little bit about the grading as that is going to be different. We are going to be have grading options of pass, an incomplete, and a possible letter grade. So if your student was passing at the quarter and continues to at quarter 3 and continues to engage, they will have a choice at the end for a pass or a letter grade. The letter grade is going to be an important decision for you and your child if they're in a high school level class, geometry, algebra, or a foreign language, as that will then be on their high school transcript. But that will be a decision that will come at the end. If your student or the circumstances are that they are not able to engage during this time or to the level that is expected, that student will then get an incomplete. It will not be a fail. However, that incomplete we are going to use to look at our fall scheduling and what courses students might need. We want to make sure that every student, no matter what has happened during this COVID-19 shutdown, is ready for the next level. So they will be moving on, but we need to make sure that they're ready. So we will be looking at their fall schedule to see if we need to have some additional classes, some additional remedial classes if needed, to make sure that students are ready to move on to the next level. I wanted to let parents know that many students have emailed and said, how do I get my things in my locker? That will come. We don't know when that's going to come. A lot of that will depend on how long the stay at home lasts. But there will be a time, we haven't touched anything in the lockers. There will be a time that students will be able to come back and get their belongings. We just don't know when that's going to be. If your student has their Chromebook at school, attached in this email are 2 emails that they can send a request to, and we can schedule a time for them to come for an essential item of a Chromebook. But we will not be getting other items from their locker or having students just come and clear things from their locker. If they need their Chromebook, please send an email to Mrs. Hamilton or Mrs. Kettler, and they will schedule a time with you. We are also working for our end of the year activities as much as possible. Obviously, some things cannot be replicated. We have already rescheduled our Washington, D.C. trip and are working to finalize our choir trip. So as much as we can, we will reschedule things, and we may do things a little bit different than we have in the past. But that seems to be our new normal, to think a little bit more outside the box. We hope that some of these systems and this weekly communication are going to be helpful to you as parents. Please reach out to an administrator, a counselor, or your team of teachers if you have any questions or need any support at all during this time. We are all thinking about you, your family, and your students, and we miss them so very much. So please take care and stay safe during this time.